Hello my gorgeous friends on the internet. So in the previous video we just did some copy and paste from the previous add tax provider we created. So I had to modify it and put some get tax provider here, and we also created a get tax schema, which is from this get to do. I had to copy this query, this stuff that we did, and you can see it actually returned some data when it tested it. So this data we need to display it now within our application. Okay, that's what we're going to do now, display it within our application. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we have already created it, right? So I'm going to replace, because there are some things we need to replace here. So this get tax provider, it has status, response, and one other setter we need to create is the response list. So it's going to be dynamic because I don't know how the data is going to return, but in this case I think it's more like a map of lists, and the list have other maps inside. Okay, but what we are going to do is just to make it dynamic. Okay, then I'll call this response, or I just call it list. Okay, for now I'll set it to an empty array and then create a getter for it. Okay, I think our app is running. Okay, so what I'll do now, just to create another getter, so it's going to be a list of dynamic. It should be a list of dynamic. Like so. And then I'm also going to create a list of dynamic and call it get, and again say get list. Okay, and then list. Okay, I like making this stuff private, like the setter should always be private, but the getter should not be private because we need to access it from the other end. Okay, so now I have the get list. So what I'm going to do now, get task. Okay, we have the value notifier, the same thing. We have the document. So now I need to replace it with this get tax schema that we just created from here. Okay, it's a new schema. You can see it's different from this one. This one is mutation, and this other one is query. Okay, so add to do, I don't think we need that. I'm going to remove that class. That's fine. Then dot get task. Okay, we get that. And then secondly, we are going to get result that has exception, blah blah blah. Okay, if it has exception, blah blah blah, return all these stuffs. Fine, you return them. Then if there's any data, we can say result.data, and we can say data fetched. We don't really need this response. We don't need that response. So what I just need to do is to set the list to the result.data, like so. I think we're having issues. The value of type map string can't be assigned to the variable of type list dynamic. Okay, I think that was why I had to make this stuff dynamic, like so. Okay, so I hope this works. Okay, it works. Alright, so it works and there is no error. So we have assigned it to this value and then this. So what I normally do, because sometimes when we make this request, it more like returns duplicate items. So what I normally do is to create a string. So I call this one dynamic and get response data. I do stuff like this. So I will check the first thing first. If the list dot is, so if okay, since we are not really getting, we don't really need a getter for this. Because we are not getting the data from this particular variable. Okay, we just need a setter to set the value, and then we check for the value if it is not empty. So if list dot is not empty, okay, so if it's not empty, what we do is just to create a variable of data. So I'm just going to initialize this, which is the list, and then I will assign it to, I'm just going to return the data. Okay, I'm going to return the data, and if you see what it returns here now, it returns the get to do's. Okay, so we're going to return this particular stuff, which returns a list. Okay, so copy the get to do, because that's what you're trying to get here. Get to do, you can copy it from here, you can copy it from here, whichever way anywhere you want to copy it from. Okay, and yeah, but make sure you don't copy this. Yeah, make sure you don't copy this data. Okay, be careful of that. So but the first thing I'm going to check if is equal to null, and return the data dot get to do's. Oh, I think I copied that, so don't type it manually, if not you might get some error. So I think issues is here. Let's see if this works. Okay, so if to do, okay, if it's null, you use this. All right, so this is actually simple. Okay, then else we can just return this stuff. Okay, yeah, that's it. Save it. Sorry. So we have successfully created this function, this class, this provider class, to actually help us to retrieve the data from the database. Okay, so I'm going to add this stuff to the main.dat file. Yeah, I'm going to register the provider, so it's going to be get tax provider. Okay, so now it has been registered. I can do a hot restart, and I think I'm going to stop this video here. But before I stop it, I need to push this code to GitHub now. So what I'm going to do now is just to add git add. Remember the first initial one, I didn't really push it to GitHub, so I'll just say commit this. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video here.